B.E.A. family, what is happening? Y'all know who it is. I miss you guys. I haven't made a video in quite a while. I know I haven't, but I wanted to share with you a meaningful connection that I had the other day with a story that I read, a passage that I read from this book, A Deep Breath of Life. I got it from one of my best friends. I am obsessed with this book. I love this book. Each day there's a different story that this book displays for you, that you can read each day. So 365 pages in this, plus your birthday is an extra page they give you. So 366 pages. I love it. Each day is a different story. It's great if you want to strengthen your spirituality, if you want any kind of daily motivation, daily inspiration. Very uplifting and positive book. I highly recommend that for everyone. So quickly to sum up the page that I read the other day that I want to share with you guys because it connected to a very meaningful and touching part of my life. The end of the passage that I read, this man was thinking so highly of himself, and he impacted so many people in the world, and unfortunately this was in ancient Spain, is what the passage said. It was in ancient Spain. So the man, unfortunately, at the end of the page gets annihilated from guards or people that are higher up from him because I guess they envied him or they were jealous of him because he was such a self-motivational person, and they really didn't like that for whatever reason. So, but the fact was that he impacted so many lives, and the ending quote in that page was, his body may have gotten annihilated, but his spirit has triumphed. And I loved that part. And you know, daily when I read these pages, I try to reflect after I read it. This page meant so much to me because about 3 minutes after, it clicked. And I have an exact moment with that, with someone who I still love to this day. He might be gone physically, but not spiritually. So it's my grandfather. About 10 years ago, 11 years ago, this is a story I want to tell you guys. About 10 or 11 years ago, and I never told anyone this, so I love sharing stories with you guys, especially if it can help you. 10 or 11 years ago, we were at the mall, local mall. I'm sitting down on a bench with my grandfather. There's a pretzel store right in front of us. So I get a pretzel. I wanted a pretzel. I think he got a pretzel himself. I don't remember exactly. I wish I did remember every freaking thing about it, but I don't. But I went to get the pretzel, and as I sat down, you know, my grandfather just talking to me like any other normal day. So I'm just really enjoying the pretzel. Mind you, I'm about 11 years old at this time, so, you know, I don't know if anyone's trying to have a serious conversation with me. I'm really just looking down at the pretzel. I'm enjoying the pretzel that I'm eating. My grandfather, though, turns to me, and with the most serious voice, serious tone, he says, "Vin, you know, I never had a special moment with my grandfather in anywhere, I guess. You know, I'm sure he's had, you know, pleasant moments with him and moments that he remembers, but he's never had a specific moment with his grandfather where his grandfather told him, you know, I really want you to remember this specific moment right now. If it's the last thing that you do, I really want you to remember this moment, what we're doing and how we are and how much we love each other, I guess." So that's what my grandfather was saying to me. He was describing to me how he wanted, no matter what I forget in this world, that specific moment. And it didn't have to be on top of the Empire State Building. It didn't have to be seeing the Eiffel Tower. It didn't have to be anything magical. I was sitting on a bench with my grandfather in front of a pretzel store, and he said, "Vin, no matter what you do, I want you to remember this moment that me and you shared, this bondage, this short bondage that we shared. There's a million things that we've done together elsewhere, but the one thing that's so crisp in my memory was the moment that I shared with him on the bench at the mall in the front of a pretzel store." And that meant a lot to me because so many times, obviously, life throws us curves, and we can't control who's in our life and who gets taken out of our life. For the most part, you know, 99% of it, we obviously can't control. And what I wanted to share with you guys was, although my grandfather is 6 feet under in Long Island, he's still with me every second of every day. And I wanted to give you guys a quick story because my grandfather passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. Stage 4 lung cancer. Avid smoker. Smoked every time I saw him. He had a cigarette in his mouth. He was, you know, dwindling off as the days went by. He was struggling a lot, and actually the day before he died, and this is the main topic that I wanted to share with you. The day before he died, I was at his bedside with him, and this guy was unconscious to me, okay, like to everyone, to my whole family. didn't respond to anyone, didn't really want to deal with anyone. Who would? Who would want to deal with anyone at that moment, at a specific time in your life? So he wasn't talking to anyone. He didn't really. I felt like he was just lost in the fact that, you know, this might really be it for him, unfortunately. And didn't say a word to anyone. He didn't even. I don't even think he remembered most of us in the room that were there. But I decided to go in there, and for some reason I wanted to challenge my grandfather. So I went into his room. It was just me in there. I believe my dad was in there on the other side of the room, though, so he might not have been hearing what I was telling my grandfather. But either way, I wanted my grandfather to listen to what I was saying. So my grandfather was sleeping at the moment, or his eyes were just closed from exhaustion and from the struggle, I guess. But I held his hand. I held my grandfather's hand, and this was a few hours just before his final breath. I held his hand and I asked him. I said, "Grandpa," and you know, he looked up at me, and he just looked so lost. You know, that's just how life works, I guess. You know, when you're dwindling down, when you're, you know, fading out. Very unfortunate, but he looked at me with those eyes, and I said, "Grandpa, do you remember?" And I was just talking to him beforehand. Before I asked him, "Do you remember?" I was asking him, you know, like how he was and stuff. I said, "Grandpa, do you remember?" I said it one more time. And he looked at me with the most clear eyes that I've ever seen. And all I saw was him nod his head, yes. So I knew that he was kind of coherent at the moment. For all I know, it could have been for anything in the world, right? So that's why I was challenging him. I asked him, "Do you remember?" Like I said, maybe he was just tired of me. "Oh, can my grandson please leave the room? You know, I don't feel good." As clearly, I don't want to be dealt with anything, so maybe he just nodded his head in, you know, annoyance, but he didn't. Because the way that he looked at me, he lasered himself. The eyesight was there. The eye contact was there. So I challenged him, and I said, "Grandpa, you're shaking your head. Yes. Well, what do you remember?" Now, mind you, he's almost incoherent here. Like, on and off, dazing off, you know, dozing off, this and that. He doesn't feel, he's at his worst right now. Okay? His memory is shot. He doesn't remember anything. He wasn't eating, nothing. A few hours before his last breath. I just looked at him. I said, "What do you remember?" I wanted to see if he truly remembered. And if he didn't, I would have loved him just as much. Because I couldn't even imagine what that man was going through at that moment. But he looked up in my eyes, and with the most confident tone that he could possibly have, most honest eyes, he spoke out 2 words. He said, "The bench." That's all he said. That's all he said to me was the bench. And I can't tell you the feeling that overcome my body when I heard that from my grandfather, who was within the last hours of his life. He carried that moment, that specific moment, with him till the very end. And that meant so much to me, and I will never ever forget that in my life. And the moral of the story, what I'm trying to tell you guys is, people come and go. You lose people in life, but certain situations and moments will stick with you forever. If you let them, if you open your soul up to that person. My grandfather now lives through me. As crazy as it sounds, the words that I'm speaking, the memories that I'm sharing with this camera right now, it could be him speaking through me, for all I know. And I feel that. I feel those certain things sometimes. That spirit, that soul that he has, that lives on throughout me. People say that I look like him. Sometimes I act like him. It's a beautiful thing how spirit continues on when the physicality of your life and the outside, the external part of your life is long decayed, but the internal, the soul that carries on throughout your loved ones is what matters most and what keeps your legacy going on, guys. So I wanted to ask you guys, how do you want to be remembered, and who do you want to be remembered with? Anyone that means something to you, share specific moments with them that you'll truly never forget, and then share it with your friends, share it with your girlfriend, share it with your boyfriend, share it with your kids, share it with the people that you love, so that their story and their spirit lives on forever. It's a beautiful thing. And as soon as I read that passage, I wanted to make this video, because that was one of the most uplifting moments of my life, when my grandfather looked at me and told me the exact moment that I wanted him to tell me, even when he was fading out. I love him so much, and he made me who I am today, as well as my father right now, who is continually making me who I am today. I want to share that with you guys. Cherish the ones that you love and cherish the moments that you have with them. Haven't talked to you guys in a while. I hope all is going well. I miss you all. Leave a comment in the box below if you want to share any stories that you may have, uplifting, insightful stories. I love hearing from you guys. I love the feedback that I get. B.E.A, folks. I love you all. Enjoy life. God bless.